Administrator Regan, thank you. Congressman Deluzio, welcome. And Dan Vogels, thank you for the work and I've been very impressed with how the two EPAs have worked so well together. I was with Mayor Conaway earlier today. I spent an hour or so with the only full-time firefighter, Fire Chief Drabick, and about a half dozen of his volunteer fire department. There are about 40 of them. Their fire department is right next to maybe 30 feet, 50 feet from the tracks. And the train had derailed 2 miles earlier. Sooner it would have destroyed the whole fire station in much else. So, and special thanks to the mayor and the fire chief. The work they did saved people's lives, pure and simple. I want to thank Ann Vogel, the head of Ohio's EPA, and the EPA employees, both the state employees, the EPA, and the federal employees of the EPA for coming in here and spending every day in the last 2 weeks. I'm here today to listen to people of East Palestine tell me what they need from the Senate and from the House and from the federal government. I've been working with the White House. I spoke to the new chief of staff to President Biden just yesterday about East Palestine. It was literally the top of his agenda and my agenda when we spoke on 5 or 6 different issues. We had great difficulty coming back to her home. Others have wanted to come back in, haven't been able to yet. But we have urged people, about 500 so far have been tested when they come back to their homes. And that's very important that everybody should ask for that test before they go back into their homes if they've evacuated. And we also expect, and so far they've done it, Norfolk Southern to pay for every one of those tests. I also, as I said, spoke to the fire department today. 40 of them for essentially 40 to 43 hours were full-time at the site of that fire after the fire started Friday night, almost 2 weeks ago. My office and I are exploring every option from the beginning. I talked to the National Transportation Safety Board, talked to the federal EPA, talked to the Centers for Disease Control, talked to the Federal Rail Authority to make sure they were coordinating and doing what they needed to do. We've sent letters, bipartisan letters, Senator Vance and I with Senators Casey and Fetterman from your state, to both to the administrator and to a couple other agencies to make sure that they are doing the right thing. In the end, the important thing to me is that we hold, as the administrator said, that we hold Norfolk Southern accountable. That means accountable for the test for people to move back in, accountable for all the cleanup that will take weeks. I don't know how long, but at least weeks, to assure people that the water is safe and the air is safe and the soil is safe for their children, for the 4,000 plus residents here, and make sure Norfolk Southern does what it says it's going to do, what it promised. One other point to make, I think, is as Norfolk Southern writes checks of $1,000 and $2,000 for residents, I just asked Norfolk Southern to not force people. So far, we think they haven't done that, to force people to give up their legal rights to accept that money. There is no justification ever for that. These are people that are struggling, that some have lost their jobs, at least temporarily. Others have lost a great deal because they're away from home. Ms. Ferguson today we asked her about her hotel bills, and you can't stay in a hotel for a week without spending a lot of out-of-pocket money. And that's just something that Norfolk Southern needs to come. So my job will be to keep listening to people in East Palestine, and Caleb in my office, who lives in Mingo Junction, just 1 county south of here, will continue to monitor. He will be here regularly. I will be here as often as it takes. And most importantly, I will be watching Norfolk Southern. Watching them and letting them know I'm watching them is important as anything I can do. So, am I introducing Regan? Congressman Johnson, are you speaking next? I'm sorry. Congressman Johnson next, and then go from there.